The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to our review show here of XPW We Are Not Your Kind from January 21st, 2023, from the Heart Ballroom there in Newark, New Jersey. I'm Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. How are you, bro?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's I think this is our first review of 2023 together. Oh, we did Wrestle Kingdom, didn't we? Oh no, I did that in WrestleMania, didn't I?
That was with our boy WrestleMania.
That's right. So it's
you know what? There should be an event put on by the WZWA network in Fire Pro called Wrestle Kingdom, where all the matches are booked by WrestleMania. Anyway, here we are. We're talking about XPW. We Are Not Your Kind. Yep. I personally think it was flash thoughts. It was a step up from the previous show, which I thought had kind of dropped the ball a little bit from the show prior. I think now we've definitely jumped up a notch again with this show. I thought it was a good show. I'm excited to get into it.
You know, I'm the host of this show. I'm hosting this, and you gave me your flash thoughts. How do you know I didn't want you to? I maybe wanted you to do flash thoughts a bit later. Why do it then?
It's just you've been telling me that I need to take more initiative. With the so I just thought that
flash thoughts. And that's actually what I had first on the agenda, was asking you for your flash thoughts, but you've already jumped the gun there, so you've just ruined it. You ruined it for me. Yeah. No, sorry. Really. All right, look, no more messing around. Okay, all right, let's get into the show here, bro. There's a pre-show match that takes place. Yep. It is the Soultaker, who we've seen at the last New Jersey show, and he's taking on Sadistic Sean Longhorn. Bro, what did you think of the opening bout here?
Well, I have to say, this was a serviceable dark match on an indie show. You know, these guys clearly don't have 20 years of experience, but they went out there, they kept it pretty basic with what they were doing. They introduced a couple of light tubes towards the end of the match just to kind of give people a little taste. I liked the fact that they pivoted when their final big spot, which I presume was going to be the finish, didn't quite go the way that they wanted, and kind of added the tombstone, the jumping tombstone pile driver at the end there, because I believe the spot prior to that was the intended finish for this particular match. So I liked the fact that they were able to call the audible. It actually made it more realistic for me, because this looked a little sloppy, but it looked sloppy in the way that, man, this is kind of a fight. This sadistic Sean Longhorn may be sadistic, but he's kind of was playing it straight, acting like he was intimidated by the Soultaker, even though the Soultaker is kind of this like black version of the Undertaker, and it's almost a blaxploitation version of the Undertaker. You know, it's like a Quentin Tarantino, Jackie Brown interpretation of the Undertaker, and I think that's a deliberate decision on the part of Soultaker to play the character that way. And I think it creates an interesting dynamic, because when he came out and cut that promo before the match, and he used the N-word and stuff like that, I think people were a little taken aback by it, because he was kind of touching on some of those politically charged, areas such as BLM and all that stuff. But I think that it works for the character. I think it puts across this element of he's kind of cosplaying as the Undertaker, but this guy might actually be seriously a bit of a psycho, and he doesn't give a fuck about what anyone thinks. He's just going around beating motherfuckers up. And so I think that really came out quite well. I'm going to give it a C-, because it didn't really pop out of first gear, but I do think it was serviceable for where it was on the card.
Lovely. So my thoughts on the opening bout. The comment that Soultaker made about Chris Benoit and Nancy. Here we go. It's just like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
This is how the show's beginning.
Yeah,
I thought it was a little much. Just a little,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
I think so.
I will say this. Look, I like Soultaker. I think his character very much suits the vibe of XPW. Got a couple of little notes though. Okay, I think Soultaker is a little disjointed in his movements. He's a little stuck in the mud. He went to a swing for a clothesline that was getting ducked by Sean Longhorn, and the clothesline was even if Longhorn didn't duck, that clothesline wasn't hitting him at all. Like, you got to be confident that that guy's going to dunk underneath your clothesline, bro. You got to swing it at head height. Don't go over the top with it. You got like, I just think he probably needs a bit more training. He's still a little green, despite the fact he plays the character very well, and the things that he does do well, he does very well. But there's just a little bit more work needs to be done there with things like that, and maybe that kind of experience will bring him more confidence.
I think he needs more time in the ring, possibly doing some indies that aren't deathmatch focused as well.
He probably needs to just get more reps in, maybe work 3, 4, 5 nights a week if that's possible. I don't know what it's like in the indie scene at the moment on that level, but anyway, this wasn't bad. It wasn't amazing either, but a serviceable opening matchup, I'll say that. But I kind of feel like these two didn't gel very well together.
No, you can sort of tell that they hadn't wrestled before. Like, I think this was but I have to say though, like, everything that they did, I was like, oh well, it definitely could have been executed better. But I appreciate the fact that they kept it moving. They didn't get flustered by anything that didn't go perfectly.
Props
so
to them for pivoting when something didn't go right. They pivoted.
Yeah.
They thought on their toes and they finished the match. So it's good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move forward, bro. I like that they're filling the gaps on these shows with adverts. With different packages, adverts for the Rob Black show, XPW merchandise. I still don't know how they get away with using Metallica so much, but maybe they've struck up some sort of deal. So yeah, I'm digging it. I was digging the opening video. I don't know why I found it so funny. I just thought it was.
No, sorry, go ahead.
You're gonna keep doing it the whole show, I know, so it's okay, bro. All right.
I can't help it, man.
Just the constant fucking interruptions. Oh, it's funny. It's funny. All right. One thought during the opening package, when we actually finally got to some footage of the XPW talent. Cat Martini is bringing sexy back to pro wrestling. What's wrong with a bit of sexiness, bro? You know what I mean? I like that.
No, it's being done tastefully as well. It's like she's not exactly going out there naked and fucking like doing anything explicit. She's just being kind of like a sultry, like a Sunny-esque in 1996 persona.
Yeah. Excellent. Well said. So anyway, let's get to the start of the show here. I'm thrilled. I'm excited. We're starting the show with Juventud, Juventud Guerrera, and Enzo Amore. I'm gonna let you take it away here, bro.
Dude, I have lots of things to say about this match, and they're all good. Juventud Guerrera continuing to just swear, and I feel like Juventud Guerrera is having a blast, man, and I'm having a blast watching him because I feel like he's enjoying himself. I thought that Juvi and Enzo, there could be a program in XPW for those two, first of all, because I think that they actually meshed very well. I think that Juvi's personality as an actual human being, he understands the idea behind the bluster and the kind of douchey way that that Enzo carries himself, and so he plays along with it really well without laughing at it. You know, in the WWE, I felt like some talents were too ready to kind of laugh at Enzo Amore or dismiss the idea of working with him because they thought it was silly. But the reality is that his whole gimmick is being this blustery loudmouth, and I just found it brilliant. I just on the promo part alone, before even getting into the match, like I just thought the way that those two played against each other was brilliant. I think that there is a spot in one of the major companies for Enzo Amore. I'm going to keep calling him that because that's the name I'm most familiar with. So sorry, everyone out there. There's a fucking spot in why hasn't WWE given him another look? Why?
I don't know.
He's the guy that you could have hosting your fucking Slammy Award ceremony as well. He's the guy that you could have doing his own show on the WWE network. You know what I'm saying? He could be doing commentary for one of the shows. He could be managing somebody. He doesn't even have to wrestle. All right? So that's that. And I think Hoovy as well, tremendous fucking ring shape, clearly still has a passion for the business. This was very close to being like my favorite match on the show. Very close. I don't know if you ended up going out of your way to watch it. I recommended the Enzo Amore versus Brian Pillman Jr. independent match that occurred.
No, I don't think I watched that.
It actually was a very good match. The actual wrestling between these two, they worked very well together. I thought that, yeah, they were keeping it basic. They were still feeling each other out because it was probably their first encounter in the ring. But man, I thought, boom, Enzo Amore, maybe he can't do everything in the ring technically, but the stuff that he can do, he does it well, and he knows when to use it. Like, you could see, like, people give Enzo Amore a lot of shit and say that he only ever got onto the WWE roster because of his loud mouth. And his mic work is definitely his strongest asset. But when you look at his actual footwork in the ring and the way that he places himself for spots and things like that, you can see that he's been trained by the Performance Center. He's been trained at a very high level to be able to go in there and work a match. And I found myself like not caring who was going to win because I was really just enjoying. I like both guys. But by the time Enzo actually lost, I believe he copped the 3 count to the frog splash. I came out of it thinking, man, I wish Enzo had have like stolen one on Hoovy, and we would have had a program going right there. Because I thought, honestly, man, I give it a B minus. Like, I thought it was a great way to start the show. I was like, yes, this is what I want to see from XPW. You know, it's the kind of thing GCW tries to do, but then they usually flub it up somehow. But it works in XPW because XPW, there's just a certain vibe there where it works. It being a little silly sometimes kind of works, if you know what I mean. Anyway.
Lovely. So I was very excited that this is how we were kicking off the show with the juice bar. And Hoovy comes out just shouting his fucking nonsense. Oh God. Right near the end of his promo before Enzo came out, I laughed, like rocked my head back and laughed when he said, so come on, softy little bitch. That's softy little bitch. And then he got pissed off about the word soft and said, "Sug my balls, motherfucker." Like I'm writing it down verbatim exactly how it was said. So sug my balls. Like there was definitely a W between the B and the A and balls. So Enzo comes out, still fantastic on the mic, of course, as everyone's aware. I just thought the back and forth promo, the battle was ridiculous, and I loved it. They were clearly trying to one up one another. I love when Hoovy said, I know you kind of saucy, but you ain't juicy.
Yeah, that was a pop.
What are you fucking going on about? I love it. It's like, Jesus, we get it. How many times do you have to mention juice, Hoovy?
Well, wasn't it at one point he literally screamed out, like, let's get motherfucking juicy? Like,
yeah. Another thing he said, I'm gonna whoop your stinky fucking ass, motherfucker. Also be careful with your cord there on your microphone, bro. You keep on making a bit of noise there. It's all good.
Well,
It's all right. You did it again.
I'll just
So
not
yeah,
touch it.
it was the mic battle that I was hoping for. Unbelievable. Good pace to start between the two. This is different flavors on the show. You know, we're getting a bit of that high flying cruiserweight style here to start off. We're not just getting straight into a death match. Loving the instant replays, things of that nature. I also like the fact that the company had decorated the building with posters to make it really look the part. Also surprised with how good Hoovy is in the ring at this stage of his career. How many years has he been doing it now, you know? And he's still pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hoovy with the win. Good length, good match. Let's move forward. I dig the promos between the matches. I'm glad that we're not just getting a still shot of the ring. So I think that's good. And although I did laugh at Body's promo where he was talking about XPW. And when he said XPW, he had X written, and then his pubes were shaved into a P, and then W after that. Why? Like, we get it, bro. You're a massive like pervert, and you're perverted. We get it. I love it. This is another character that's so suited to XPW. And speaking of the Body, he takes on Lucky 13 in the next match, and gets on the microphone again, saying to the crowd that he thinks that they have cum in their ears. Why would it be cum? maybe you might, but it's not, come on. This is right. He's cheesy, and it's popping me. You know, match starts, and there's a spot where the Body bites Lucky 13's dick. And then after Lucky 13 escapes to the outside, Body jacks off, sticks into his mouth. Like, this is XPW. I don't know what was going on at ringside when the Body licked that guy. The commentary team of Ron Nemi and Kyle Wilde seemed to know who that guy was, but I don't know. Some local, you know, I don't know, some that well known there. Anyway, so yeah, there was some curb stomps to those Kenzans, which didn't have the effect I think that they were hoping. I think they really needed the Kenzans actually to stick into each other's bodies when stuff like that happens. But look, here's my biggest gripe with the match. Lucky 13 did do the curb stomp onto those Kenzans. Then he was going to do a second time. Body, I don't know if you're ever going to watch this. You probably already know. Someone's probably already told you, but when he started setting up for the curb stomp again, and you're on your chest, you lifted your arms for him. Dude, don't do that.
Yeah. Also,
wait for him to slap you on the sides, which usually makes someone move like that, and then you grab your arms. Well, just let him grab your arms for you. You should be trying to fight away, not hand your arms.
He also scooped the things closer to himself as he was waiting there.
Yeah. And I understand that, like, sometimes, I understand sometimes these things
like
happen.
just shift forward a little bit instead of blatantly just, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So there's just a few things there. Just remember, bro, you're not on like you're on Fite TV. A lot of people are able to see everything from many different angles. So I don't know if you're ever gonna. Someone probably giving you this advice, but just something that kind of took me out of the match. Anyway, so there was the thumbtack jack spot again with the needle, you know, going through the cheeks. Like, I don't have a problem with it. But the thing is, like, I've now seen it like 4 times. Like, I know that there's spots, Jooseyboy, that people have their matches that, you know, you see that kind of spot almost every time they have a match, you know, like Ric Flair getting thrown off the top rope and things. But I think if you do this needle spot every show, it's going to lose its effect. That's as far as I'm concerned. There was another thing that, I'm sorry to be negative. Body had went to whip Lucky 13 off the ropes, and he did that thing, the thing I hate, where they just have their hand behind the person's neck and there is no way the Body, with doing it that lazily as well, would able to just throw Lucky 13 off the ropes like that. I know a lot of wrestlers out there these days seem to want to do that, whip off the ropes by pushing them by the back of their head, but don't do it if it's not realistic. Or if you're going to do it, make it look like you're really putting everything into it. This is like one of my pet peeves. Like, everyone, stop being so lazy with it. Just do an Irish whip, please.
So Irish whips, where you lead them by the back of the head as well, more common in European wrestling. And one famous person from the WWF that always did them with the back of the head was Randy Savage, Macho Man Randy Savage. If you watch when Randy does it, though, people, he doesn't just grab the back of the head and shove them. He grabs their arm in the monkey grip, grabs the back of the head, runs with them a few steps, and then shoves them off. So it actually looks like he's using momentum and force to shoot them off into the ropes properly. And he's guiding them by the back of the head instead of the back. So I guess he felt that made more sense, But yeah, he wasn't lazy about it. You've got to actually make an Irish whip look like you're putting oomph into it.
I know these are very small things to be complaining about, and we're only on our third match of the show here, but it's important that these things get pointed out so that they don't happen again.
We just want to see people that we like get better.
I like the Body. I think he's fantastic, very entertaining, but just a few little things that some people might think it's nitpicking. I think that the small things are also as important as the big things. Package pile driver by Lucky 13 onto the tubes. That was pretty specky. Out comes Mr. Fantastic, who I saw on one of their recent, what do you call it?
XPW TV.
The Theater of Brutality, those no ring shows that they've been doing. I saw him on that recently. He comes out to help the Body. The finish was a bit of a mess. I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't know if the Body was trying to hit a Death Valley driver on Lucky 13 off the top rope through that door. But
yeah, I think
that is a difficult move to hit on somebody bigger than you. I think sometimes people think this is a good idea for a finish without really thinking of the logistics of it. So I think that's why it didn't work out, because I think it's a tough spot to be in. Anyway, bro, your turn. What did you think of Lucky 13 and the Body?
Yeah, I don't have tons to add to that. What I did like about this match was that both guys really had game faces on. They went out there, you could really tell that they were fucking doing their damnedest to have a match that would stand out on the show. I agree that the Body is a well-suited character for XPW though, but I actually think he'd be a well-suited character for any level of any independent wrestling company, because just like an old territory gimmick, he's not afraid to do the gimmick and immerse himself in it. I don't know how close it is to his real life personality. I have to imagine it's highly exaggerated from the way that he as a person would act in daily life. The point is, he dives into it. He's not afraid to get booed or, have people be uncomfortable and stuff like that. He actively goes out of his way to live the character when he's performing. And that translates to his matches, even if things don't always work out perfectly. And his opponent, Lucky 13, I think it's a really shit ring name. I'm sorry. I think that it's very much like a backyard wrestling name, or like the kind of name that a 12-year-old would give their creator wrestler on one of the video games. I think that Lucky 13, though, as a performer, I think he moves really well for a guy of his size. I thought he had good intensity with what he was doing. I enjoyed the fact that he wasn't afraid to sell for the Body. And finally, overall for this match, I liked that they didn't center the whole thing around doing gay jokes or sexual stuff because the body was in the match. It was, they did the one thing at the beginning, and then from then on it was a fight, and I think that really worked well, and it made the sexual stuff that he did do stand out that much more. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a C+. I thought it was pretty good. There is some tightening up to be done, as you said, but this actually impressed me. Like when it first popped on, I was kind of groaning and not expecting much, but this ended up winning me over by the end of it.
That's good, bro. After this, we get a Sage Sinn Supreme promo where she is, I guess, talking about her situation in XPW, and her opponent will be none other than Chelsea Durden. I'd never seen her before, so this was, another debut here at XPW. What did you think of the this matchup here, bro?
Well, I thought the promo itself was actually all right. I think that Sage Sinn, could stand to cut some more promos, but I think that, I thought it was an admirable effort, if not a little bit amateurish in the way that it looked, because it was obviously just recorded on a phone or something like that, but that's all right. The match itself, bro, like, this was also very close to being a show stealer. Like, I didn't have a lot of interest in it because I haven't seen the previous things that have led up to this particular match. Like, I listened to the promo, but I still didn't have all the context. However, though, I was like, these women here know that they're not the only women's division match on the card, and they're going out there to fucking kick some ass. And like, once again, it was just, they did some spots that I think really impressed the audience in terms of like, wow, the women are actually really going for it in terms of the deathmatch stuff. And like, yeah, I felt like this was the match where the audience really started to fucking be like, oh man, this is a great show and we're loving it. And I think that the performance that these ladies put on really kind of brought the audience up in a big way for the first time in this show. Not that they hadn't gotten up before, but it's like at this point, I think the audience was starting to realize, man, this is a special show that we're watching here. And so, yeah, I give all the credit in the world to the ladies for doing that. I'm going to give it a B-.
Cool, bro. So yeah, I've never seen Chelsea Durden before. I do have a few like nitpicking notes here. I think Chelsea needs to pick up the pace a bit for a bit more ferocity, show more aggression with what she's doing. Seems just like half a step slow or slower than she needs to be. Just for the ferocity and velocity of the execution of whatever it is that she's doing, whether she's running to the corner and doing a spin kick to her opponent, or just coming off the ropes and hitting a big clothesline, whatever it may be, need to pick up the pace a little bit and hit a little bit harder, just from my perspective. Because again, felt a little stuck in the mud. There's another thing that I'm starting to see in a lot of these death matches, and it feels like it's becoming a habit for a lot of people, is I know that they need the tubes to be stuck on their opponent, as they're going to come off the ropes and do something.
Fuck.
Just
stop that.
Placing the tubes on the person and then grabbing their hands and folding their arms over the tubes does not lock that in place. That is unrealistic, because if it were real, why doesn't the person just let go? You can't use their arms as a way of tying up the tubes, because you can't tie up arms properly like that, because you're not in control of their arms. They're in control of their arms. It's something that, and I'm not just picking on Chelsea here, lots of people did this on not only this show, but in the last year, lots of people are doing this.
Yeah.
Think of something else. Even if you need to take a couple of seconds and I don't know, get some duct tape to stick it on them. I don't know. You got to do something to get them knocked down. If you want to put those tubes in the general area, you got to think of another way of doing it. Okay, you can't make it unrealistic on that level, please. I'm only saying these things like the body lifting his arms and having Sage Sinn help, cuddle the light tubes. I'm only saying these things because these are the types of things that push away a casual wrestling fan. A casual wrestling fan, if that's exposed to them like that could be just the one thing that makes them go, nah, fuck this.
That's the thing. Smart fans can sometimes be a bit more forgiving of things like that, because we tend to view the professional wrestling more through the lens of like knowing that it's a performance. But casual fans, even if they know that wrestling's not real as well, they're more likely to be like, well, that's not realistic. Yeah. So I'm not fucking watching this because it insults my intelligence, Yeah. And I think that is why it is so important, like you said, to tighten up on those little things that, you might cut corners when you're first starting out. But if you're on Fite TV and you want thousands of people to pay that money and you want to start really getting paid, you've got to start fucking tightening up on those things in the ring.
Yeah. As you pour a glass of water for yourself. Okay. So look, I hate being negative like this because I know that these ladies did work hard. There was a very cool crossbody to the outside.
Yeah, that was sweet.
I think they needed a few more thumbtacks than there were. I don't know what was going on there, but there weren't many tacks there at all. But it didn't matter. That was still spectacular. But I just felt like there was a lot of miscommunication going on between the two. I know that you really enjoyed the match, bro. But just for me, I just felt like things were very slow between spots. It felt slow between spots. I did like the Alabama slam through the door in the corner. I did laugh when there were tubes on the table. Sorry, I'm thinking of something else. No, that was the Lindsay Snow match. Anyway, look, I'll get to the end of this. There was, the spot that they were setting up on the top rope. It just took so long to get there. Mm-hmm. But then we got this gargoyle suplex off there through the tables. I thought the bump and finish was good. Just a little sluggish of a match. And then Sage was gushing with blood. I'm sorry to be so negative on that match. I just felt, it was a bit slow. Okay, let's move forward, bro, here. It's time for the next matchup. It's kind of like a death match, dream match. Drake Younger taking on Big Effin' Joe. And I dug the hype bid going into this. I'll run through my notes quickly. Great start with Big Effin' Joe's cannonball on Drake through the glass. You could see that, look, there's not a knock on anyone who's already performed on the show, and obviously Hoovy and Enzo started the show, but it felt like this was on another level in comparison to all the previous performances. And I just think Drake's so great at selling. He was getting dragged through the glass by Joe, and the way he screamed and sold it was really realistic. I loved him locking in a figure four on Big Effin' Joe and jamming a broken tube into Joe's leg to continue on with the submission. That's just great stuff. Then Joe coming back with that swinging side slam through the glass table. Fucking amazing. But Drake again with the selling, the yelling, the screaming. Beautiful. Another great spot with Joe doing a modified Vader bomb, and Drake moved and he went through the glass. The light tubes. So just some great stuff here, great spots. And probably the spot of the match was the blockbuster that Drake hit on Joe with the tubes stuck in Joe's shirt. Could have been the finish, but no, they kept going, man. I like the comment from Ron Nemi there saying there's less blood at a Gwar concert than this one. Man, like Joe's shirt was red.
Yeah.
So Ron did do a good job on the show, bro. Joe's shirt was rendered red. It looked amazing. Great visual. Frog splash onto Joe with the glass tubes on him, and Joe kicked out. And I just thought that this was unbelievable, really. This was really close to the match of the show for me. We got some really cool spots like that gave a lot of suspense of what was happening toward the end here. Joe going through the pain, and Drake picks him up. But you know, he gets tombstoned onto tubes, and then from that there's a reversal into an ankle lock. Joe rolled through, then he got zip tied to the ropes and just had tubes smashed over and over and over on him. He just drenched in tubes until the referee ended the match after Big F and Joe couldn't continue. I thought that was a cool way to finish, and obviously opens up that rematch, that possible rematch down the road, which Drake alluded to afterward. And I think he's very charismatic and good on the microphone. So there we have it. That's my thoughts. Pretty much me just going bit for bit of what actually happened in the match. But bro, what did you think of Big F and Joe and
Yeah, I think Big F and Joe is really establishing himself as a top name in XPW, certainly a top name in deathmatch wrestling today. You know, I think Drake Younger like really went out of his way to fucking make Big Joe look like a really big deal. I think they did a successful job. I did not care for the finish the way that you did. I don't mind them doing a ref stoppage finish itself, but I just felt like, you know, dude, there's been 500 million other death matches in history where like 20 or 30 tubes sequentially have been smacked over someone's head even after they're already busted open and the match keeps going. So it's really weird that that of all things would cause a ref stoppage when power tools and things of that nature are literally being used in other matches. So I find that to be a bit of plot armor. Like, oh, you know, he's just stopping it in the context of how much blood there is. It didn't really work for me. I think the blockbuster should have been the finish. And the only other minor nitpick that I have was a second tombstone pile driver onto light tubes in the show, because Soultaker did what I thought was a really nice jumping tombstone pile driver to his opponent, and I really feel like that was something they can hang their hat on. And so yeah, they didn't need to do a second tombstone pile driver onto the tubes, but it's a minor thing. You know, that happens all the time these days. But other than that, though, I thought the match was absolutely tremendous. I would give it an A-. It really fucking had me excited by the ending of it. And yeah, I find myself really looking forward to seeing what Big F and Joe does next. I think that the character work is starting to come along more. I think his confidence in these death matches is starting to grow more, particularly in XPW. And I think that Drake Younger was the right guy to give him this kind of star-making performance here as far as death matches. So, and the reaction of the audience, you know, proves that this was over. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
My bad, I was still muted because I had to cough before. Yeah, I think Big F and Joe has found a home here at XPW, and I do believe that there was a tweet or something that XPW put out last year stating that Big F and Joe will be on almost, if not every single show that takes place this year for the company. So that's good news. Next, we have a SHLAK promo. I'm really happy to see these promos between matches. Very good. You're continuing the story, you know, from as the show moves on, moves forward. There's a lot of companies out there that don't bother with that. I like that XPW bother with that. It's good. I think SHLAK is a good talker. It was great hearing about the history of the XPW King of the Deathmatch title. I had no idea that he now had surpassed the record for the longest reign, so good stuff. There's a Ludark Shaitan hype video. We get a package of you know, the merchandise again. Then there's, you know, a little bit of a history piece on what's leading to the match with MAGA Butcher and SHLAK for that main event. Then there's a Sage Sin hype video that unfortunately played like 3 times in a row. I guess they had to clean up the ring. Shit happens. More merchandise is pitched. And then here we go. The next thing that took place on the show, Rob Black makes his entrance. And this guy called Mike from, I don't know what, he was coming out to give an award for match of the year. I guess it's like a state of New Jersey wrestling thing. And he gets knocked out by MAGA Butcher, aka Necro Butcher. It was a bit odd, but a bit of filler, but nonetheless, it was, you know, entertaining, and Jasmine looked fucking good, bro. What did you think of this segment, man?
This kind of thing needs to be left on the pre-show, bro. I find Rob Black and, you know, the cast of characters at XPW as endearing as the next fan. I'm a big fan of this product and the way that they view the wrestling business. However, I think that this would have been far better suited to being on the pre-show, to add a little bit extra to the pre-show rather than sticking it right in the middle of this card. And the second thing is they really need to they need to get their audio even more refined if they're going to do these in-ring promo segments, and especially cold, because the audience might not have any context for like where this is coming from and stuff. So I think it's a mistake to put it in the middle of the show like this, you know, especially after they just had that intermission to clean up the ring. I personally was like, oh, it's another in-ring promo, like shit. So nothing against Rob Black. I'm a fan of his. I actually think his turtleneck and his accent and everything works really well, you know. I love the idea of Kat Martini just having this title belt just clearly because she's with Rob Black and all that. So that's working for me. I just think that this was the wrong placement for it.
Fair enough. But I have to give props to that Mike guy. I thought his sell was pretty funny. We get a Kat Martini promo. Not complaining. Why would I? She's a babe. It must be cool and fun being such a babe, don't you think, bro?
Yeah, I'd like to take her out for a lovely meal.
Not just a regular meal, it has to be a lovely meal.
Yeah, like a real nice, you know, just a real nice place.
Yeah. That's just romantic, bro. Why didn't you ever offer to take me out for a lovely meal?
Well, we you know, I haven't yet. That's the thing. Wow.
Well, just before you ask, I decline. Thank you. Let's move forward, bro. Okay. The next matchup, XPW Heavyweight Championship. I believe it's on the line.
Yeah.
So MASADA, he's going through some shit here with Rob Black and Kat Martini. She's decided to target him, which is, I don't know why, but it makes me laugh. I don't know, like this big tough guy, and she's picking on him and trying to get him out of the company. I think that's great. She makes her entrance again. Great song selection, and she looks good, bro. I thought Ludark Shaitan might have been the opponent, but then I realized that, well, she's wrestling Lindsay Snow later, so that won't be happening. But then she gets nailed by MASADA, and then he goes to grab the skewers. Then we find out that Thom Latimer is in fact the opponent here for MASADA, which was Kat Martini.
Yeah, I liked that, by the way. I liked the way that he popped out.
Tell me about your whole thoughts of this whole thing.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I thought that Thom Latimer was a great choice for this match. I think that it took me by surprise. I just want to say, I don't care if XPW is doing the whole "you can't cancel us" thing. I did not find it appropriate to mention on commentary the issues that Thom Latimer had with his ex-wife, Charlotte Flair. They made like a passing comment about that. From what I know, that was a rough time for both of those people. I don't think that needs to be put on the commentary, because that made me think like, like, why are they bringing that up now while I'm trying to get immersed in the match? But that's a personal opinion. It's not a big thing. It was only a 2-second comment, but that's my personal thing, is that kind of broke the immersion of the match for me for a moment. But I actually thought Latimer did a really good job of blending in to the XPW style while also maintaining his persona of being the consummate professional wrestler. This had some of the most technical wrestling that we saw on this card, and I think that this was an example of good placement on the card. I think it was also a good choice because, you know, we have, of course, heard that MASADA wants to be able to do more outside of just doing death matches, you know, that he feels that he has more to offer. And I think that he proved in this match that, yes, he does have more to offer, you know. He hung in there with Latimer in terms of the technical stuff, and Latimer hung in there with MASADA in terms of all the deathmatch stuff. So this worked really well for me. I thought it was a good flow. I found it quite amusing that throughout the whole thing, Cat Martini was like just poking the bear, trying to get him to hit her, deliberately knowing that if she does it enough, anyone would snap and do something, no matter if it's a female or a male or a non-binary or whatever. And because eventually everyone has their breaking point. So it's actually, while some people may have thought it was kind of goofy and gone like, oh, why is she antagonizing this big tough guy? It's not. She knows that she stands no chance against MASADA physically. And she knows that she's being a total bitch to MASADA. And she knows that it's unreasonable to expect him to be slapped around like unreplied forever.
Yeah.
So what she's doing, though, is she also knows that if he does reach that breaking point and put his hands on a woman, that's not appropriate, and it could very well, it'll get him fired from the company, especially if it's the owner's wife. So that is actually a good piece of storytelling there that I wanted to highlight, because I wanted to make sure that everyone sort of picked up on that, because I think that this all came together really well. I think it's one of the best examples of a well laid out match that I've seen in XPW so far. And I'd give it a B+.
Very good, bro. I like the brawl through the crowd to begin. Popped for that knife edge chop to the post from Latimer. That made such a loud noise that echoed through the whole building.
Great sound.
Ron Nemi, you are correct about Cat's pants. Thank you. MASADA in an interesting and different situation, able to show his range and that he's not just a deathmatch guy.
Yeah.
Be careful with your microphone. Nice spots with the door in the corner. Great suspense with a punch to the chair from MASADA to Latimer's face. I loved it. This was building and building and building. The only thing I really was a bit bothered by was the fact that the camera completely missed MASADA going through the ropes and bumping onto those opened out steel chairs, because that made him take that bump for no reason, because no one got to see what happened.
And Johnny sidebar, that also happened when Enzo razors edged Hoovy off of the guardrail to the floor. Apparently it was an amazing bump, but we couldn't fucking see it. They need to tighten up on some shit like that.
It is a small building, I know that. It was pretty tight in there, but still. It's so funny how doors became so prevalent now in wrestling. It was such a backyard wrestling thing for years. Now, like every company, doors galore. There was a huge chair shot to the head that I was like, man, that was a hard one. A little nitpicky thing here with the crowd. I really don't like the "you fucked up" chants. It's an ECW. I know it's XPW, and it's the same vibe, but get over it. All right.
Stop being smart.
Yeah.
Just watch the show.
Just watch the show and enjoy it. So a great superplex into that double pin through the two doors. I I love the spot where the referee had a skewer hit him. As that took place, the referee sold it. Then Thom Latimer low blowed MASADA. This is suspense. This is what I like. Then Latimer gets the skewers into his head, and his screaming was fantastic. Very good finish. Latimer was holding the rope, though. I'm not sure what the reason was why we couldn't get a clean MASADA victory here. And the referee seemed to not care, and it was over at that stage.
I reckon they're going in for a rematch, bro. That's how I took the rope thing.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But I thought this was very good. And I think, okay, now at this stage of the show, we've had, two very, very good matches in a row. So where are we next? Okay. Coming up next, and I'm this is probably the low light for the show for me. It's a triple threat with three guys, I believe, three of them making their debut in XPW on this show. Charlie Bonnerford, there's the guy with the chainsaw, versus Kurt Bale versus JJ Escobar, who had the weed whacker. So this is kind of like, I guess, almost like a proving ground match here. There's three guys, hungry young guys that, I believe commentary had mentioned that, this is an opportunity for them to showcase what they can do. But when, again, I feel like I was going to sound like an asshole by saying things like this, but when you put guys on this level of experience in a triple threat or a three-way, it can lead to it not working out so well, because they're not experienced enough to make it look good. It's the best way I can explain it. So the match started very soon into it. JJ Escobar's tongue is apparently stapled to the turnbuckle. He pulls it out. Charlie had the chainsaw and then kind of put it on I think JJ's arm, and did the, but it didn't have the chain on it, and it didn't leave a mark or do anything. So it's kind of silly. I'm not expecting you to chainsaw someone's arm, but if you're going to do that and the guy's going to sell it and there's going to be no mark there whatsoever, don't do it.
It was weird that there was no mark, because that still would have hurt.
Yeah,
like that still would have hurt. Just maybe the vibration.
Yeah, maybe. So I had a feeling this was going to be a little bit of a mess at this point. So, oh God, what have I written here? Never mind. Charlie and Kurt Bale looked like they were really cooperating with each other. I don't know if they weren't quite sure what their spot was and they had to talk it out whilst they were in the middle of going for that spot. But I felt like they were just so obviously cooperating with each other. And that's like my biggest pet peeve when I watch, independent wrestling. Charlie was bleeding a lot. And gosh, I was really harsh in this match, but I think Kurt Bale was very clumsy. I don't know what was going on. If there was too much shit in the ring, I don't know, but he just came across really clumsy. I thought the fishhook spot wasn't good because Charlie's beard was in the way when I guess the fishhook went through. And of course, when JJ went to put the hook in his mouth, what happened? Charlie opened his mouth for him. Too much cooperation on camera there. The weed whacker spot, I don't know. It didn't really have any effect because he hit a protected kind of bit of clothing on Charlie's stomach. So Kurt Bale comes off the balcony. That wasn't too bad. And then the weed whacker to the tube. That was really cool. Then that was followed up by a really cool German suplex onto tubes, I think by Kurt Bale. So that was like probably spot of the match. Then they did another thing with a fucking pot plant, ceramic pot plant holder. I thought that was nonsense. Gosh, what else happened here? JJ had something where he was shooting fluid into someone's eyes. I can't remember who, but the guy just stood there and took it. I think Kurt Bale. He was just standing there taking it and screaming or whatever. I can't remember what that spot was now. Do you remember?
It was lighter fluid. He was spraying
lighter
lighter
fluid. That's right. Lighter fluid.
It
He's
would've
just
been- it would
standing
be-
there and just copying it. Dude, just fucking jump to the floor. Run away. You have legs. Like, I understand that you have a spot that you pre-planned, but fucking hell, man. Like, I'm sorry to be harsh. This is so dumb that I get mad like this, but why the fuck would anyone just stand there and cop it in the eyes? Like,
because you're blinded and it's already stinging because it's in all of your cuts and
you
it's
know where
mixing with
you know
your
which
blood.
direction
And
it's
you,
coming from, though. You know which direction. It's
yeah, but
coming
you,
from. Run.
but you, it's like a, would be kind
Put
of
your
an
hand over your
alarming
face.
thing to
Put your hand over
fucking.
your eyes. You guys going to keep shooting into your eyes for 10, 15 seconds. Put your hands over your eyes. Sorry, man. It's just like when it's unrealistic on a level of that, it gets me annoyed. There was an electric chair driver for a slightly confusing finish because once again, someone comes in to break up a pin right at the fucking end. And, the referee counts 3. Crowd isn't sure if it got broken up or not because, they can't see from every single angle. But JJ Escobar got the win. Sorry for being harsh in the match. Just did not like it at all. Bro, your turn.
It's funny, man, because I can see that point of view, but I actually liked the match because I thought JJ Escobar, with just the balaclava with the Zodiac thing that's been drawn on it in texture, and like he to me actually looked like someone who was dangerous. And I took the match in conjunction with the promo that you saw the two guys cutting right before this match where they're sitting in the armchairs and they're talking about how they're going to have to try and top what JJ Escobar is going to do if they're going to try and survive this match. Right. I took it to mean that then meant that they were going out of their way to work, focus more on JJ Escobar because he was going to be the biggest threat in the match. And I feel like I was worried that one of these skinny kids was going to fucking get hurt. Like, I feel like Escobar, it probably should have been a singles match. Like, I'll say that. It probably should have been a singles match between the blonde kid and JJ Escobar. It didn't need to really be a triple threat. But what I liked about it was they brought out the weed whacker, they brought out the chainsaw, they used the lighter fluid and stuff like that. So they created this sense of danger and this sense of carnage in the match, in my opinion, enough to get it a C- rating from me, or maybe a D+, somewhere around there. I'm going to go C- because I found myself enjoying it. I think I agree with you. It was sloppy. There was a bit too much going on. But what I liked about it was they brought that element of danger and that element of extreme to it without doing anything that was going to outshine the matches still left to come. So
Yeah.
I gave him credit for that.
Fair enough, bro. Look, they just followed a MASADA Thom Latimer match, which was really well laid out. So, like, that's the thing. Like, you can see this massive differential when you have a lot of, I guess, guys who very early in their time in the business having a shot on a big show like this.
Just different levels of their careers and different experience.
You're popping me, bro. You're popping me with the constant opening of drinks and the sound effects. Great stuff. It's so loud. So yeah, I forgot what my point was, but this is just what happens when you have great guys on the show.
Yeah, you said that you basically thought the triple threat probably looked worse following the previous match.
Like, I could have done with it not being on the show at all. But that's okay.
I could have, yeah, that's also another thing where I could have done with it being on the pre-show as well, even though I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move forward. Lindsay Snow challenging Ludark Shaitan, the new XPW Women's Champion, here on this show. I'm going to let you take this away, bro. Snow versus Ludark.
I thought this was great. I think that Lindsay Snow is a babe and just a beautiful very attractive woman, and I like the way she carries herself, and I like the way she's put together, man.
Yeah.
And I think that they did. She actually also she gives me a bit of Luna Vachon vibes, and it's not just
I've got that written down all over my notes.
and it's not just because of the hairstyle or the gear.
Yeah.
It's the attitude as well. It's like she actually seems like she'd be a badass bitch and you know a cool chick in IRL in real life. And no, and I thought that they went out there and had a really good match. To the, you know, I would give this one a B- as well. I graded the other one women's match quite highly, but this one for a different reason. I thought that this was better laid out and had a better flow than the Sage Sinn and Chelsea Durden match. But I thought that this one, they didn't try to get as extreme, but I just felt like it really had a gritty, visceral feel to it. And I thought that I found myself really being drawn into like both ladies' performances in the match. I think maybe Ludark, maybe a gear upgrade, like a you know a bit more of a snazzy attire to go with the mask might be worth looking into. But overall, I thought they did a really good job, especially you know after so much shit had already gone down on the card, and then they still come in and they've got that fire under their asses, and they just go in there and give it their best shot. And like that's kind of a thing that I've mentioned a few times in these XPW reviews, but I really think that that's the appeal to me of the product overall, is that they're going out there and they're giving it their all, especially a lot of the people that probably might not get too many other opportunities with the bigger indie companies out there.
Yep. Well said, bro. I like this match too. But one thing I wanted to say, I could have done with this just being a regular match, because we had a very extreme death match coming after this. We've just had a triple threat one take place. I know before that, the MASADA Latimer match did not have as much craziness, but prior to that, we had Drake Younger and Big F and Joe. So I think a palate cleanser would have been good. If you wanted this one to be a death match or whatever, then I wouldn't have had the triple threat. I would have had some sort of, I don't know, just a good, solid technical wrestling match with like a Silas Young or whatever type wrestler. Was it Silas Young? Is that the name? Right?
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, but you know, it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's just like, sometimes you need the palate cleanser. It's like having Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay try and kill one another and then expect Jay White and Okada to be able to, no, you need something in the middle there just to give people some breathing space. Jesus. Anyway, by the way, this show was better than Wrestle Kingdom by a mile, even with the things that I've been mad about. Anyway, I'll get through the rest of my notes. Yeah, Lindsay, I think she's fantastic. Her vocal selling, facial expressions, general craziness. I would love to see her given a real angle to work with, like a proper storyline where we get to find out about her past, who she is, what she's all about. You know, I just think it'll be an interesting character piece that XPW have been known for in the past if they went down that road with her. I did love the part where the Ludark had come off the ropes. Lindsay was going to slam her onto the chair with the tubes, but the tubes, of course, rolled off the chair, and the referee just very, very cutely picked up the tubes and placed them on the chair, and then they went through it. I thought that was funny. And there was a great spot where Ludark was in the outside snow running towards the ropes for a suicide dive, and she just gets cracked with tubes.
That was good.
That was spot of the match. Then God, what was the name of the masked wrestler that was with Lindsay Snow? Is it Mother Endless?
Yes.
Is it Endless? Is that okay?
I think it was Mother Endless. Yes.
I think that's it. If we're wrong, I'm sorry. I should have
Cool
double-checked.
mask and cool gimmick, by the way. I just want to add that in there. I liked it.
I agree too. But look, she got involved. I don't know what happened, but then the referee started counting while she was, for whatever reason, being pinned by Ludark.
Yeah, the
And
commentators.
I was like, why is the commentators are even like, I don't know what's going on right now.
I think that was a mistake. I
Yeah.
think that was just a fuck up.
Yeah, shit happens. But anyway, Ludark hits a pump handle on Lindsay Snow soon after to pick up the win and retain the championship. Very good. But next, I'd like to see a real solid angle for Ludark to sink her teeth into. As the
I wonder if Saturina still works. It's like this female luchador that was on the indies in like the mid to late 2000s. Very, very smooth wrestler. And someone like her. Like Ludark reminds me of Saturina, you know, as Saturina. Yeah.
Never heard of her.
If you type in Saturina Chikara, you might get it because the Saturina gimmick I first saw it in Chikara.
Right. Okay, no worries. Sorry, my phone started ringing then. I just gonna have to wait. Okay. Okay, let's move forward.
Yeah.
Advertise with XPW. We'd love to. Chad, let's do lunch. The package before the main event. This is what we need. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. This was the best package that was on the show by far. I thought like you know what, man, I'm just going first. Fuck you. Right.
I haven't just let me get to the just let me say what the match is before you fucking jump in.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Jasmine had cut a promo as well. I thought this was ridiculous. I'm loving the ridiculousness of the promos. What she's talking about here is the XPW King of the Deathmatch Championship. Exposed, board, no, rope, barbed wire, sheets of glass, maximum bleeding, fucking deathmatch. SHLAK defending against Necro Butcher, aka MAGA Butcher. Now, Jooseyboy, now you can go.
All right, so the promo package and Jasmine St. Clair's promo before this match, by far the best promo package XPW has ever done, and possibly like people at home need to go out there and actually watch this to get an idea of what I'm talking about, especially if you're politically conscious, because this is the kind of satire, political satire, that WWE and other major companies have tried to do before, but they are unsuccessful. These people are not actually MAGA supporters in real life. They are a pastiche of those kinds of people. That is why this gimmick is working. Jasmine St. Clair is talking in this promo the same way that Marjorie Taylor Greene or one of these other nut jobs would speak. She's just saying all this crazy shit that couldn't possibly be true, but she's saying it with such conviction as if she believes that it's true. And so she's talking about all these weird conspiracies around the King of the Deathmatch Championship and all that stuff. And then that's intercut with clips of the MAGA Butcher, and he's now embraced the MAGA gimmick even more, and he's got the American flag overalls on and the American flag Zubas, and like the MAGA hat that still looks one size too small for him, and the Make Wrestling Great Again. There are going to be people that watch this that find this offensive and think that they're glorifying or supporting like America First or the MAGA like movement, right? Trumpism. That is not the case. It's the exact opposite. It's a brilliant piece of political satire. I wanted to spend a minute talking about it because I assume Rob Black had a large hand in the creative of this. And I just want to say, brilliantly done, expertly done, a perfect tonal replication of the way that these idiots speak in real life, but translated to be talking about things going on within XPW instead of politics in general, but using that iconic imagery like the hat and the flags and everything like that to to sell it to the audience. Everyone immediately, when you lay eyes on the MAGA Butcher and the entourage, you know what they're about, even if you've never seen them before. And that's the beauty of this character and that promo. The match itself, I won't spend too long on, bro. I loved seeing MAGA Butcher actually in boots. I think that's good for him at his age. I thought that this match was actually fucking tremendous. It didn't have a ton of bumps in it. It didn't have anything that was technically that you were going to write home about. It was just a knockdown, drag out fight. And I honestly fucking loved it. Like the whole time I was just enthralled by it. I wasn't looking for things or anything. I've made no secret about it in the previous XPW review. What a huge fan I am of Necro Butcher. But this MAGA Butcher gimmick that he's doing right now, I think is like a resurgence for Necro Butcher in deathmatch wrestling, at least for however long it'll go on. I think he's killing it, and I'm really glad that I'm watching this current run of his career in real time. I love the fact that they avoided the ring for a good deal of the match at the beginning, and it was just wild, and people were getting cut open and stuff. When they finally did get into the ring, loved the fact that MAGA Butcher actually worked on one of SHLAK's knees, trying to slow the match down. That makes sense because everyone knows that the Butcher has no fucking knees at this stage. I know that you're going to go more detailed with the actual spots, so I'll leave that to you. But dude, like, I'm giving this a fucking A+. Like, I liked it that much. I thought that this was perfect for what it was supposed to be. This to me is what I want to see when I watch an XPW show. I want to see this blend of, we're not taking ourselves too seriously, but we are taking ourselves seriously when it comes to getting things done in the ring and having these death matches. And it's the perfect vibe, and I loved it. And now that I'm done sucking it off, we can turn over to your thoughts.
Very good, bro. Yes, this was fantastic. This is kind of, it was almost like, I consider this maybe like a midway point of a feud here, because we can see that this is going to be venturing off into further brutality down the line as SHLAK clashes with the MAGA stable here. A lot of time is used to set this up. And this match will only go 15 minutes, but it's fair enough. It should realistically only be able to go that long because of how brutal a match is, which has exposed boards, no rope, barbed wire, sheets of glass, so realistically, it should only... Exactly, bro. MAGA Butcher's theme makes me laugh so much. It's just so patriotic, dude.
And dude, the song is so iconic and has such a catchy hook that I enjoy the song. I'm not even an American. I just like the way it sounds. But it's also the perfect theme for this type of gimmick because the commentators did a good job as well of mentioning that the MAGA politics goes against everything that the song stands for as well when it was written, which is brilliant, bro. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just funny, man. It's there's one thing that us Australians get more annoyed about with Americans than anything. It's just how patriotic you're. Like, all right.
We get it. You love your country.
We get it. You love ground that you happen to live on. Cool.
Yeah. We think our country's pretty cool too.
Yeah. It's all right, but we don't, go on and on about it.
Yeah. Not always in your face about it.
But this song reminded me of that song from Team America. Freedom isn't free. This must be the most fun Necro's had in his career. And I just wish he would finally set up the interview with me that I've been seeking for the last few months, but I haven't heard back in about 3 emails, so I guess I'll give up. And the whole song played. The whole song. That made me laugh even more. Here comes SHLAK. Yeah. I'm guessing Misha Montana is no longer there as his valet. I've not seen her in, I think, 2 or 3 shows. I'm guessing that's
it. it depends on the location of people in the country as well, bro, because they have been having like airline problems and shit in different parts of the country.
Plus, I think right now she's spending a bit of time with her new boyfriend, Riddle. Riddle me that. Butcher landing on the chair as they were brawling through the crowd and then slipping off the chair and falling onto the floor. I don't know why. That made me laugh. Because it just showed how chaotic and this match was in such a funny way. Amazing spot when Butcher goes through the barbed wire. Fuck.
I was like literally like you know that. Like I was like, fuck! Like
that's the kind of shock and awe that you look for in a match like this.
You
can't have it happen all the time because then it won't mean anything. So when you see something like that on a very, semi-rare occasion, it gets exactly the reaction that you gave it. Danny Ramirez gets caught by SHLAK, and SHLAK stripped Danny, and he was now in his little black undies. It's so
amazing.
Funny,
Amazing. So I popped for all of them.
Yeah, this would everything that happened after this was just fucking awesome. Another side note, Jasmine St. Clair gets hotter with age. The Hardcore Hillbilly.
I got a crush on her.
Yeah, everyone does, bro. Hardcore Hillbilly gets involved. And starts trying to interrupt SHLAK's figure 4 leg lock on Necro. And then, man, oh my fucking God. Here comes MASADA with one of the hardest fucking share shots to the head I've ever seen. To the Hardcore
fucking brutal, dude.
I know people are like, oh, you can't do chair shot, man. No, I don't care. I'm going to say it. There is nothing more awesome to see than that crack of a steel chair off someone's head. I know it's led to some real bad things and people with CT and memory problems and all that.
Just don't do it all the time.
Do it all the time. Yeah.
Do it once or twice and that'll be enough. You know?
Hillbilly, don't take that bump every single show or that same chair shot to the head every single show, and I'm sure he'll be fine. But it was very impressive and it reminds you of just how great, those old chair shots to the head really came across when you saw them back in the day. Anyway, so it looks like MASADA and SHLAK are going to reform their team here that they've had in the past as the MAGA Butch gets laid out and SHLAK gets the win. And bro, okay. This is probably the best thing that happened on the show. It was shocking, but it was just such a visual. SHLAK grabs Jasmine St. Clair, press slams her to the outside. The way that she flew through the air was that's one for the highlight reel.
Yeah, she got fucking tossed, man.
Props to the Hardcore Hillbilly because he caught her and Danny did nothing. He just fell down. He fell down, but Hillbilly was right there to make sure he caught her. So good on you, bro. And then Danny gets laid out. So now he's knocked out whilst in his little black underwear. Okay, this is the point I wanted to make before we get to the end here. Look at all three of these on the outside. Look at MAGA Butcher in the ring, pissing out the blood. All the people that whinged and complained about this stable, they're fucking heels and they got their comeuppance.
That's right.
Got to see it happen. They've been on top of the world for I don't know how many months now, getting the edge over on a lot of different people. Now finally something shit happened to them. That's where you get that feeling, when you watch a TV series and the bad guy keeps getting one over on the good guy, but finally right near the end, of the season or whatever, you see that bad guy get their comeuppance. It's a relief, because you're just so agitated by it.
Yeah. And people do need to understand that storytelling, reflects the reality of what's going on in the world. Just because you see something that references something that's unpleasant and that a lot of people don't like doesn't mean that the company or those performers are actually showing support of that thing. They're using it as a way to draw the ire of the audience, as you said. And yeah, so I think that, yeah, they got their comeuppance, but it was also done in a way that you're like, where's this going to go from here, man? Like, you know, fucking MASADA is now obviously going to be coming after MAGA Butcher as well. So, yeah, lots actually going on in that main event segment. It was really well put together.
Yeah, it's very interesting stuff, bro. I loved it. And, you know, Necro got onto the microphone afterward, mentioning that he might need to find himself a partner. So I'm excited to see who that could be. I don't know if it's going to be Toby Klein, but, you know, you never know who it could be. Necro's had a few tag team partners in the past, so that's exciting to look forward to.
Man, Homicide, bro. That would be sweet.
Yeah, bro. So we've come to the end of the review here, Juicy Boy, and now it's time for your final thoughts and your rating out of 10.
Yeah, as you know, like we here at the WZWA network, you know, XPW is basically our favorite wrestling promotion for the WZWA network. And, you know, I found myself left, the previous show that I watched left a little bit to be desired. It was enjoyable, but I didn't think that it had, you know, been at quite the same caliber of the shows prior to that. This show here, We Are Not Your Kind, boom, has blown it out of the water. I think it might even be my favorite XPW event that I've seen so far. And I am going to give it a very lofty 8 out of 10. Because, as always, my final rating is never just down to what happens in the ring or anything like that. It's the overall presentation that, as a whole, that is being graded. So 8 out of 10, back to fine form. I find myself really excited to see where XPW goes from here.
Very cool, bro. I will echo those sentiments. I was thinking 8 out of 10 as well. You know, there may have been a couple of matches on the show that, you know, I wasn't chuffed with some of the things that took place, you know, just if my suspension of disbelief was affected in some way. But that doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because I really enjoyed the show. And even if, like, you know, that triple threat match that I didn't have a lot nice to say about, I could see that they were trying. I could see that they were putting in as much effort as humanly possible. So, you know, when you see that, at least like when I'm watching it, I'm not yawning. And I'm not bored, and I'm not trying to slap my face, keep myself awake because I'm tired because the show was 4 hours long or whatever. They managed to keep me invested the whole time. Even if it was a match that I wasn't particularly interested in, just on face value, I was still interested to see what was going to happen, because when it comes to XPW, you don't know what's going to happen next. And I like the fact that it's an unpredictable nature that XPW has. So that's why they're my favorite company. They don't insult my intelligence. So, Juicy Boy, there we have it. Our review show of We Are Not Your Kind, there from the Heart Ballroom in Newark, New Jersey. Thank you very much, bro.
Absolutely. So that's what we thought about it. And, you know, let us know in the comments what y'all thought about it if you watched it. You're very welcome. Love doing these reviews as always. And, yeah, fucking looking forward to the next one.
Sweet, bro. Thank all of you out there. You can find us on all social media, every platform you can possibly think of. Please go to our merch store on Pro Wrestling Tees, Thunder Mifflin. You can find all of our shirts and merch there. Of course, also check out the Ryzen Network, RIZON, Ryzen.net. Go to that website or download MIRC32. Join the chat room on the Ryzen Network, hashtag Pro Wrestling. My friend Kurt, he was in the front row. He's the guy with the WZWA Network sign. He's in that chat room. A whole bunch of friends in there. Great people to talk to about wrestling. Juicy Boy, thank you once again. Thank all of you out there. Thank me. Mate, we will see you all next time when we see you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play. like it.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA network.